Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
This is question. Do you talk to yourself? Nobody has to be around, but do you talk to yourself either verbally or in your mind? And what are you saying to yourself? We're going to talk about that today. Affirmations and how they can really, really impact your life in a very positive way. And also identify some of those things that you may say to yourself that are not supporting you, but you don't realize that you might be doing it. She's an amazing psychologist, helps people all the time move their life forward with positivity and more. She's also an amazing author. Here's one of my favorite books, Love Yourself, Love Your Life. She is Ann Creekmore, and she's back with us. Hey, Ann, how you doing?
Great. How are you, Steve?
Very well. Very well. And I'm glad we're talking about affirmations today because this started a little bit of a debate in a conversation I had last night with some people. And I want to pick your brain on this. I want to share it. Can I? So it came up with these two words. I am. I am. Very powerful two words. And somebody in the conversation last night said, "What is your I am? What's your I am?" And they gave an example for themselves. They said many times, I hear I am not worthy. I will not succeed. I am not good enough. And threw that to somebody else in the room, and they started rolling with the same type of responses to I am. And I had to chime in and say, I don't agree. I just don't agree. That's not me. That's not me. When I use the I am statement, it is something that, call it positive. I am resourceful. I am resilient. I am creative. Today, what would it be? I am managing time very well today. And I get
Excellent.
where they're going with, the negative chatter. And this is what we're talking about here. What the way you talk to yourself, but I couldn't bend on that. I don't use that I am for negative use. It just, maybe I used to. This I don't. I even write in my gratitude journal. There's a section there, daily affirmation. I am. I didn't never write anything negative because I'm not feeling it. But
Mhm.
what are your thoughts? What are your on the I am statement?
I agree with you. I mean, that, you kind of worked on yourself a lot. And so you've gotten to understand that what you say to yourself is going to affect how you feel. And how you feel is going to affect how you behave. And then how you behave is going to determine the outcome of the situation. So for you to just, to say, I am not good enough or I am not this is just going to make you feel bad. You're not going to feel energy to put forth the effort maybe you need to do whatever it is, and it's not going to work out as well. But it is a starting place because
Hmm.
that would be the place where you want to start to observe your own self-talk. So say, well, what am I saying to myself? Listen to myself. What voicemails am I leaving myself? Are they friendly? Or some I wouldn't even say to an enemy. So it's first good to be aware of your self-talk, but then you do really want to thought stop all the negative, put the positive in, because that's going to give you that encouragement, and that's going to program your mind to be open to the good, and be participating in creating your good.
And I get what the person was coming from last night. I'm not immune to those negative statements. They come up in your head, and I find when you do more work on yourself, you squash them. Like you press
Exactly.
the pause
Exactly.
button. I like to say, I equate
Reframe.
it. I equate it to like your phone when you're listening to music. I hit stop, rewind, and play again. Like reset, reset. Um,
Exactly.
the the things that we tell ourselves, many times we don't know we're doing it. And
Right.
therein lies the challenge. How can we be more aware? Is there a way, or is it just really just finding a way to focus and being more aware of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. It's just observing your inner self talk. I mean, we all talk to ourselves, have inner self-talk going on all the time. In fact, in my book, The Love Yourself, Love Your Life, in the first chapter is on cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive meaning your thoughts, changing your thoughts to change your life. That I have a little exercise where I said, well, just take 10 or 15 minutes, just whatever, any old time, whatever you're doing, and just observe your thoughts. Like, notice what you're saying to yourself. And that can start to help you to realize that you're saying, oh, you're saying something negative, like, oh, I'm stupid, or I don't get anything right, or, that you start to become aware of different, what you're saying to yourself, and maybe even can group them into a cluster. Like, they all seem to be saying, I'm not good enough, and that might be some underlying self-limiting belief that you can start to be aware of, so that you can bring it, when, you just look out for it, so you can stop it at the time whenever it's coming up.
What do you say to people that could be thinking as they watch and listen to this? Look at those two people. They're just, positive, 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 rose-colored glasses. Come on. Two of you, get real. Life's not easy. Come on. This stuff, this woo-woo stuff you're talking about here. How do you address that? What do you say to somebody might be thinking that?
Well, I mean, it's good to have friends, right? And it's good to be a friend to yourself. So you want to say things that if, you're talking with a friend and they said something that you would say to them, and of course, say those good things to yourself, because it's going to make you feel better. And then you're going to be able to do better in whatever it is. I mean, and so I say that if they have found that it increases your serotonin, they've done studies between antidepressants and cognitive behavioral therapy and found they're equally effective. So it's actually a natural way to fight your depression or your anxiety or any kind of any symptoms you have, mental health issues. You can improve them just from changing what you say to yourself. And that's the scientific research.
Thank you for saying that. I was just about to say, does this stuff really work?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it does. That's considered cognitive behavior therapy. Cognitive change of thought therapy is considered the most effective form of therapy.
And is that defined as somebody that just keeps repeating a certain pattern, habit, or make it become a habit by, let's say you're always negative. So you go on a journey of just thinking more positive, affirmation, whatever they may be. And then does it just rewire your brain? Like, what's actually going on in your brain?
It does. It does rewire your brain. You're kind of canceling out the negative. You're refreshing, right? Like on the computer, you refresh and you get into where you want to be. So it does. And I have used the analogy kind of like of having a glass of muddy water, like your mind could be this glass of muddy water. And if you take this clear pitcher of water and you start pouring it in, then all the mud's going to start flowing out. And you keep doing it, then you're going to have this glass of clear, pure water. And that's what you want your mind to be. You don't want it to be negative and yucky and muddy. You want it to be clear and pure and flowing, clean. And that's what you will accomplish by, taking that challenge to catch your negative thoughts, stop them, realize they're going to make you feel bad, and then start putting in the opposites, the positives, realistically, and just give yourself, be a friend to yourself.
That's a great analogy, because with the muddy water, you totally get the picture of putting in the positive, and eventually you change the water.
Absolutely. It becomes easy. Right. I mean, at first you might notice you're 300 times a day having to catch a negative thought, but maybe, in a week, 2 weeks, you're down to 50 or 15, it becomes easier. I think it's still a kind of a life challenge, but I mean, it becomes so much easier and you're just on the path to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I have found that, and we all have negative thoughts. I'm not, I'm just like anybody
Absolutely.
else.
Right.
Same thing. Although now that I'm more aware of it, I find myself catching myself sooner when I have a negative thought. It could be anything. You see somebody walking down the street. We're so wired to judge. You know, you might say, "What the hell are they wearing?" In your mind. That's not a positive thought. You're just putting out
No,
negative energy, but
right.
that's
Judgment.
your
Yeah.
first impulse. Like what is
Right.
going on with that?
Right.
So those moments that come up for me, I find myself, whoa, in my mind, stop. That's not positive. That's negative energy you're putting out there. Why are you doing that? And I find myself faster and faster putting the stop on and just clearing the negative thought out of there. Doesn't
Right.
mean that they're not showing up. Ultimately, it'd be great if you didn't have any, but we're normal. And
Right.
whatever those thoughts are, fear of failure, whatever they are.
Absolutely. And it's that gave me reminded me of something funny that happened to me about, and there's is not judgment, it's not good to judge, to be empathic, because we never know why people are doing something. And then
Sure.
it came back to me. I saw someone in some all this, all this different colored plaids, something. And I said, wow, what is that, to myself. And then like the very next day, my a little granddaughter ran out of the house, and I had to throw some shorts on that were all plaid that weren't even mine. There were some one of the guys, stuff, and threw it on and running out in the same kind of plaid yucky shorts that I had just commented on the day before. They say God works in mysterious ways, right? So I mean, like so why judge someone? You never know why they're doing what they're doing. They may have just had to run out of the house to catch a toddler and threw something on that wasn't even there, wasn't even female clothing, just so they could get there.
Yeah. So am I getting from
You
you
don't
that
know,
you could judge somebody, but not know the whole story?
Exactly. I mean, so there's no reason to judge. I mean, we don't
Mm,
know. I
we
think
don't
you
know.
brought it up before about SUVs. Like sometimes, wow, it's just taken up a lot, but we don't know if there's some reason that they have a business, they run out of that, or whatever. Their child has. I know my son had ADHD. I got him an SUV when he's going to start driving. I wanted him protected.
Sure.
You do things for you don't know there's you have to put yourself in other people's shoes before you judge them, and we don't even know
Yes.
these people, so we can't judge them because we wouldn't know anything about them.
And it's also, and this is normal. You're driving and somebody cuts you off. Nothing happened, no accident. But what's the first thing you do? You're like, you in your mind, or maybe in the car, you start yelling, "You put me in harm's way! I'll get my car." We don't know what they're going through. They may have just gotten a call that was horrific. Something
Absolutely.
happened.
Yeah.
They may be
Mhm.
working 4 jobs and they're tired. Yes, they shouldn't be driving, but they're trying to support their family. They just got distracted, not on their phone. That's not a good idea, but it could have been
Right.
anything. We don't know the full story. And where is it going to get you to marinate in negativity? And yes, I do the same thing. As soon as somebody cuts me off right away, I'm like, well, okay, no harm done. Literally, there was no accident, nothing happened. Move on. It's not going to do it. All it's doing is creating a weight of negative energy that's kind of pulling you down. It's for
Exactly.
nothing.
It's like they say you got like you're given $100 for the day. This is your energy. Where you want to apply it? Do you want to
Mm.
spend some of it? Just being angry and upset. It's your money. We use it for something good that you'll like. Don't put your energy into something that's just taken away from you and getting nothing out of it, right? And so,
As life goes on, I start realizing, and this is just my feeling, that we only have so much energy per day. It's your hundred
that's my
bucks.
point. Exactly. Right.
So people are going to take your energy. You're going to give it to them when you really don't want to. But again, it goes back to people pleasing and all of that. Where do you want that energy to go? Because you're taking it away from you, or where you could use it
Exactly.
for good or positivity.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And you can set your mind to be open to the good and the positive. If you keep your mind on positive thoughts, you'll be able to see the good. If
Sure.
you're thinking negative thoughts, you're going to be honing in on seeing negativity, making yourself depressed or anxious or angry. And so, and I have a couple of affirmations. I in my book for each chapter, I did an affirmation at the beginning to just kind of summarize the chapter a little bit, just a few lines to get your mind into this, light and love kind of space. And so maybe I could read one or two
Yeah,
and
please
just see
do.
what you
Please
think.
do.
I know you, yeah. So if I can find it quickly, right? One thing for feelings, focus on the gratitude, feel your feelings is just feel your way to a beautiful feeling. I feel love. I feel joy. Just to kind of bring yourself to that and say that to yourself so that it feels, and you feel good. So, I feel joy. And
Mm.
and then as far as your thoughts are concerned, changing your thoughts, I have one, and these are usually from your word is your your word is your wand. And so it's kind of just a book of affirmations that you can find on different topics and just use them. You can put them up on your wall or your mirror or whatever it is, and just to kind of keep your mind on the clear water pouring in. But this one is I've matched it up with the self-fulfilling prophecy chapter, which is chapter 1 on cognitive behavioral therapy. And it's just all my thoughts are positive and self-enhancing. My feelings are good and happy. My relationships are healthy, loving, harmonious, peaceful, and mutual. I have radiant health. I'm guided to right action at all times. I live in serenity, prosperity, and abundance. I'm healed and healthy in mind, body, and spirit. You just kind of start your day with the positive.
Mm. Okay.
How was
I love it. It feels good. It feels good.
Does that feel good? Could you feel that? Yes.
The last
And
one I
then
really
there's
did.
another. Yes. And there is one more for creating healthy relationships. Kind of just you're entering life, you're entering relationships with this mindset, if you will. You're programming yourself to be open to sending light, feeling light, and getting love like that. But for create healthy relationships, that's chapter 7. Just as this is a little thing of how to use your word. I release all fear and accept only the joy of the moment and the harmony of my relationships. Every man is a golden link in my chain of good. My apparent enemy becomes my friend and is a golden link in my chain of good. How'd that feel?
Nice analogy. The golden link in your chain of good.
Yes, that's where we want to be, because we want to shine our light, and the more we see the good, more good will grow. And so it's just a way to get yourself started into the flow of good of life.
So there are many, many different affirmations, positive affirmations. Should you focus on one? I mean, you can use many, many during the day, but with the thought of creating an impression and rewiring your mind, would it be impactful to pick one and always start your day with this one, whatever it is, your choice, positive affirmation, just to keep basically drilling it into your mind? Should you stick with one?
I think so. I think you can start that way for sure. Pick something that actually counteracts your negative thinking and brings you to that place of kind of more peace, inner peace, and openness to the good, and kind of whatever is maybe something that you need to change in yourself, as well as a negative, like an underlying attitude you might have about life that's negative, and kind of put in the positive until it starts to flow.
Is it really a process that eventually maybe you turn around one day and you start realizing that, yeah, I always have a positive outlook on things. Maybe I wasn't that way in the past, but after doing this work, does it just eventually just kind of literally, I guess, rewire your brain?
It does. It does. Absolutely. It's very worthwhile activity to do. Yes.
I I can attest to it because I rode more on the negative side, more not like nasty negative, but more of like fear-based negativity.
Right.
Something presents itself and you just, oh gosh, I can't believe that happened. How am I getting around that? Let's say it's a loss of income. Maybe you do sales. Yeah, yeah, that account went away. What am I going to do now? Instead of marinating for a period of time, flip it around and say, all right, that stung.
Right.
Didn't see that coming, but maybe that's an opportunity for me to get fired up and push a little bit harder. Maybe I'm focusing on something over here that really doesn't support me, and I should be looking at something over here. And maybe that's the universe's way of saying, yeah, uh, reprogram, get your focus and your attention over here
Right.
because this is going to be better for you. You don't see it at the moment. You
Exactly. And if you stay focused on the negative, you maybe won't see it. You might even miss that opportunity
true.
because your eyes are focused on the negative instead of open to the positive. That could
True.
be it happening so that something better is there for you.
Yeah, that's a really great point. It's because if you're stuck in the negative, you're not open to seeing some positive signs, things that could be right in front of your face because
Absolutely.
you're being
Right.
negative. Um, it's funny. I love your book, and I go deeper into the chapters, and I knew the affirmations were there, but I kind of forgot about them
Mhm.
until you just brought it up. And it's like, oh yeah, you know what? That's there's really good stuff there at the beginning of the chapters, um,
Uh-huh.
and they come from all different sources, and but they feel good. Like the last one you read, just I listened to that, I kicked back and I absorbed it, and I'm like, it's got a nice feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel better. And if you're feeling happy and you're going to be more motivated, you have more energy to do whatever it is that comes your way.
Right, right. Positivity wins. Best way to find you if somebody is going through some challenges, want to just reprogram their mind into a more positive outcome. How do they find you?
Yeah, I think the easiest is just go to Psychology Today, that kind of directory, and you can put my name in, Anne with an E, Creekmore, and you can click and it'll go right into my website for my therapy practice, my whole health therapy, my practice of psychology, and then there's my email there, my phone number, and I'd love to talk with people if you
Yep,
want to call or email me.
it's your purpose, and it's wonderful
Absolutely.
who you are and what you do. And the book, by the way, you can find details on the website or even just Google
Yeah,
"Love Yourself, Love Your Life." AP Filosa is your pen name.
correct.
So you can find it easier. Thank you so much for today. Felt good. Very, very good.
Thank you so much for today
I
and
appreciate it.
sharing. Yeah,
We'll be right
appreciate it.
back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.